circle out, but then like right here doesn't goof up at all. So I have this like weird slanty thing going on. I don't know if I like this. I really like this part picking up, but this part doesn't.
I don't like my hair. I feel like my sides are oddly bigger.
Yeah, it does. It is a little more picking up.
It's because I don't have my hairbrush. I don't have a hairbrush. I can't.
Do you have
Also, I need a haircut.
two hairbrushes? Two hairbrushes. I'm gonna brush my hair. This is all natural. Wake up, quick shower. So it goes minimal effort for maximum effect.
Sorry. I need to message Nasir.
Nasir.
Make sure the audio.
Has Nasir been watching right now?
Okay, just like in a regular tone next to it. From there.
Hello, Kagan. How's it going?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
It'll take like 10 to 15 seconds for you to show up.
Can you hear me now?
Do you want to listen to yourself?
Can you hear me now? Good.
I haven't tripped yet.
Oh yeah, it's definitely picked it up. This is on.
Sick.
Alright. Yeah, no, I'm trying
Hi everybody. Are you ready for announcements? Before we have the announcement of round 3 pairings, I have one important announcement. It's information for tomorrow morning. Remember that tomorrow morning we leave the hotels and we will be debating on campus. And I want to remind you, if I didn't tell you at registration, that the area directly in front of the Iowa Memorial Union, which is where the big room is tomorrow, is not available for dropping people off. There's some construction going on. So the best place to drop people off, if you're going to drop off before you go park your car in the EPB lot, which is just about a half block away, will be on the side of the Iowa Memorial Union building on North Madison. It'll be pretty clear when you see it, and that's a good place to drop off because the big room is directly inside the doors that go out onto North Madison, up the stairs, and there's also an accessible elevator. And with that, I will turn the pairings over, or the mic over to Director Fritsch for the pairings.
Thank you, Danielle. I wanted to thank some people this weekend. This is the last time I'll be at the National Debate Tournament for at least a while. I've been coming here since 1985. One of the sets of people I want to thank is the people who've worked in the tab room over the years. Those people donate their time to the National Debate Tournament. Their reward is that I take them to dinner one night while they're here, and then the rest of the time they get fed. That's their, so they really do contribute a lot to the National Debate Tournament. And I've worked with some really special people in that tab room over the years. Those people include Rich Edwards, John Brushke, Chris Palmer, Sarah Partlow. This year we've got Adrian Bravero and Matt Vega, Arnie Madsen, Neil Phillips, John Raines, Gary Larson, and Eric Dockstader. They've really helped to make this tournament run efficiently and effectively. And they're really strong supporters of the National Debate Tournament and our activity. The year that we were in Austin, my son visited the National Debate Tournament. That year we had, I believe, Dockstader, Neil Phillips, Arnie Madsen, Gary, and Kate were in the tab room. And every time my son walked into the tab room, he said, "I feel my IQ raised by 10 points." And I don't think he was kidding. I really want to thank them for the time and energy. One of the things I did a couple of years ago was I started asking people to be guest readers of the pairings. And I've asked one of the members of the tab room to be the guest reader of this pairing because of the things that they have contributed to our activity. The person I've asked to read the pairings this afternoon is Kate Palchevsky. Kate's a really unique member of the tab room. You might know her as the tab room person that makes you get debate started. She is also still works at the Women's Debate Institute in the summers and is on the board of directors for that. You may not know that she was a 2-time quarterfinalist at the National Debate Tournament. She was a graduate assistant at Northwestern. She was the director of debate at the University of Northern Iowa. She was a former chair of the NDT committee. She was the co-editor of Argumentation and Advocacy. She's the first female keynote speaker at the Alta Summer Conference in Argumentation. And she's a professor at the University of Northern Iowa. And when we can get people like that to come and be a part of our activity, I think we should be immensely grateful and thankful for the work that they do. And so I've asked Kate to read the round of pairings.
Welcome to round 3rd. On the second floor comments, Kansas State SK will debate Wichita State MO with a panel of Chase, Emily Bosch, and McVeigh. Second floor comments, K-State SK, Wichita State MO, Chase, Emily Bosch, McVeigh. In Benson, Georgetown EK on the affirmative, Vermont BL on the negative, with a panel of Min, Major, and Harris. Benson, Georgetown EK, Vermont BL, Min, Nature, and Harris. In the Borlaug room, on the affirmative, Michigan AP debating KCC CN with a panel of Ed Lee, Joe Bellin, and McCleary. Borlaug Room, Michigan AP, Casey, KCCCN, Ed Lee, Joe Bella, and McCleary. In the Carrie Chapman Cat Room, Baylor EZ on the affirmative versus UT Dallas OL with a panel of Lundberg, Shook, and Height. Chapman Cat, Baylor EZ, UTDOL, Lundberg, Shook, and Height. In the Clark Room on the affirmative, Northwestern MV debating James Madison ML with a panel of Teely, Molson, and Kahn. Clark, Northwestern MV, James Madison ML, Thiele, Molson, and Kahn. In Choral A, on the affirmative, Rutgers Newark SH versus Harvard BS with a panel of Monty, Garcia Lugo, and Aswari. Choral A, Rutgers Newark SH, Harvard BS, Monty, Garcia Lugo, Aswari. In the Choral B room, on the affirmative is Trinity SR, on the negative, Nevada Las Vegas GV, with a panel of Hardy, Casey Harrigan, and Perkins. Choral B, Trinity SR, UNLV GV, Hardy, Casey Harrigan, Perkins. In Choral C, on the affirmative, Minnesota CE versus Harvard DH, with a panel of Corey Stone, Shermer, and Mosley Jensen. Choral C, Minnesota CE, Harvard DH, Corey Stone, Shermer, and Mosley Jensen. In Choral D, on the affirmative, CUNYAM, Georgia BF on the negative, with a panel of Mathis, Smelko, and Ryan. Choral D, CUNYAM, Georgia BF, Mathis, Smelko, and Ryan. In Choral E, on the affirmative, Michigan DM versus Minnesota WW, with a panel of Meloche, Ryan Cheek, and Harper. Choral E, Michigan DM, Minnesota WW, Meloche, Ryan Cheek, and Harper. In Duke Slater room, on the affirmative, Iowa KL versus Wayne State SN, with a panel of Van Luveny, Antonucci, and Rubiak. Duke Slater, Iowa KL, Wayne State SN, Van Luveny, Antonucci, and Rubiak. In the Edgewater Grill private room, on the affirmative, James Madison BW versus Concordia College SS on the negative, with a panel of Twos, Will Baker, and Albiniak. Edgewater Grill private room, JMU BW, Concordia SS, Hughes, Will Baker, Albiniak. In the exhibit hall coat room, on the affirmative, Gonzaga SW against Binghamton HS, with a panel of Zagorin, Hall Johnson, and Russell. Exhibit hall coat room, Gonzaga SW, Binghamton HS, Zagorin, Hall Johnson, Russell. In the exhibit hall office, on the affirmative, Texas SK versus Kansas FG on the negative, with a panel of Robinson, Bunnis, and Vint. Exhibit hall office, Texas SK, Kansas FG, Robinson, Bunnis, and Vint. In Homewood, the other hotel, Homewood 211, will be Central Oklahoma HS versus Emory KL, with a panel of Brian Box, Post, and Seth Gannon. Homewood 211, Central Oklahoma HS, Emory KL, Box, Post, Seth Gannon. In Homewood 213 on the affirmative, Emory KS versus Kentucky HR, with a panel of Bunton, DeLong, and Kallmeyer. 213 Homewood, Emory KS, Kentucky HR, Bunton, DeLong, and Kallmeyer. In Homewood 214, George Mason DK will be on the affirmative against Iowa SH on the negative, with a panel of Murray, Hester, and Young. Homewood 214, George Mason DK, Iowa SH, Murray, Hester, and Young. In Homewood 215, Arizona State CR will affirm, Wake Forest DL will negate, with a panel of Ziering, Myers, and Hagwood. Homewood 215, ASU-CR, Wake DL, Searing, Myers, and Hagwood. In Homewood 216, on the affirmative, Kansas State RP will affirm against KCCCGJ with a panel of Bugarov, Willie Johnson, and Dominique Baker. Homewood 216, K-State RP, KCCCGJ, Bugarov, Willie Johnson, Dominique Baker. In Homewood 218, Kentucky GN will debate Georgia GH with a panel of Wunderlich, Holland, and Strauss. Homewood 218, Kentucky GN, Georgia GH, Wunderlich, Holland, and Strauss. In Homewood 220, on the affirmative is Weber State HT versus Kentucky GV on the negative, with a panel of Craig Hennigan, Moore, and Phillips. Homewood 220, Weber State HT, Kentucky GV, Craig Hennigan, Moore, and Phillips. In Homewood 222, on the affirmative is Binghamton CS versus Kansas KC, with a panel of Fefelsky, Alsop, and Quigley. Homewood 222, Binghamton CS, Kansas KC, Fefelsky, Alsop, and Quigley. Coming back to this hotel, in the Kirkwood room, on the affirmative was Georgia GR versus Cal Berkeley MS, with a panel of Maurer, Simons, and Ron Stevenson. Kirkwood room was Georgia GR, Cal Berkeley MS, Maurer, Simons, and Ron Stevenson. In the library room, on the affirmative, Michigan KM will be debating Puget Sound BQ with a panel of Reddick, Lesson Schatz, and Badasharji. Library, Michigan KM, UPS BQ versus Reddick, Lesson Schatz, and Badasharji. In the lobby coat room, on the affirmative is Dartmouth College KM versus Gonzaga NS with a panel of Brzezinski, Kyle Deming, and Cisco. The lobby coat room, Dartmouth KM, Gonzaga NS, Brzezinski, Kyle Deming, Cisco. In Oakdale 1, Oklahoma AC will be on the affirmative versus California Berkeley WS on the negative with a panel of Garner, Kanelopoulos, and Matheson. Oakdale 1, Oklahoma AC, Cal Berkeley WS, Garner, Kanelopoulos, Matheson. In Oakdale 2, on the affirmative, Cal State Fullerton DG against Southern California NO on the negative with a panel of Copenhaver, Reed Brinkley, and Fitzgerald. Oakdale 2, Cal State Fullerton DG, Southern Cal NO, Copenhaver, Reed Brinkley, Fitzgerald. In Oakdale 3, Nevada Las Vegas BS will debate against Vanderbilt BM on the negative with a panel of James Stevenson, Rubino, and Sean Kennedy. Oakdale 3, Nevada Las Vegas BS, Vanderbilt BM, James Stevenson, Rubino, and Sean Kennedy. In Oakdale 4, on the affirmative, Georgia State SN will debate Liberty CE on the negative with a panel of Ontiveros Kirsch, Osborne, and Justice. Oakdale 4, Georgia State SN, Liberty CE, Ontiveros Kirsch, Osborne, and Justice. In Oakdale 5, on the affirmative will be Liberty CS, on the negative, Towson TW, with a panel of Ciulo, Glass, and Spees. Oakdale 5, Liberty CS, Towson TW, Ciulo, Glass, and Spees. In room 744, on the affirmative, NYUIZ will debate Weber State HV with a panel of Scott Elliott, Thatch, and Lanning. Room 744, NYUIZ, Weber State HV, Scott Elliott, Thatch, and Lanning. In Suite 610, on the affirmative will be Georgetown KK against Emory BD with a panel of Michelini, Bato, and Thompson. Suite 610, Georgetown KK, Emory BD, Michelini, Bato, and Thompson. In Suite 646, on the affirmative is Wake Forest MS, on the negative, Harvard NS, with a panel of Campbell, Souders, and Lucas Bolin. 646, Wake Forest MS, Harvard NS, Campbell, Souders, Lucas Bolin. In Suite 746, On the affirmative is Wyoming MM. On the negative is Michigan State ST, with a panel of Andre Gannon, Watson, and Call. Suite 746, Wyoming MM, Michigan State ST, Andre Gannon, Watson, and Call. In Suite 810, on the affirmative is Northwestern OW. On the negative, Baylor BB, with a panel of Hearn, Samuels, and Rourke. 810, Northwestern OW, Baylor BB, Hearn, Samuels, and Rourke. In the Van Allen room, on the affirmative is Georgetown LM, the negative, Michigan State CZ, with a panel of Arnett, Segrist, and Gliniecki. Van Allen, Georgetown LM, Michigan State CZ, Arnett, Segrist, and Gliniecki. In the Wallace room, on the affirmative is George Mason KL, on the negative, Kansas HR, with a panel of Fitzmyer, Kozak, and Steiner. Wallace room, George Mason KL, Kansas HR, Fitzmyer, Kozak, and Steiner. In the Wilson room, on the affirmative is Southern California BL, the negative, the United States Military Academy BC, with a panel of Allen, Latoya Green, and Rashad Evans. Wilson, Southern Cal BL, West Point BC, Allen, Latoya Green, Rashad Evans. Before the last pairing, the start time of the round is going to be 5:45. Start your rounds on time. And in the last round, it is in the Wood room. The affirmative is Oklahoma CY. The negative is Stanford GL, with a panel of Jamie Cheek, Ignacio Evans,